job to be a control group.
A petition for a recall.
You want stadiums open.
You're being alarmist.
She is barely able to speak coherent sentences.
We have officially begun the recall of Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman. Now, I'm going to break down exactly what we're going to do to make that happen, but before we do, I want to talk about why she deserves to be recalled. Carolyn Goodman has been mayor of Las Vegas since 2011, and just last year she won her third term for mayor once again. It was nice to see some real change for mayor of Las Vegas, because the last mayor before her, well, that guy was her husband. This is the only known instance where a spouse took over for the other spouse as the mayor of a major city in American history. Carolyn Goodman is listed as an independent, but her roots are really in the Democratic Party. Her husband was part of that party until 2009, and she ran against a Republican in her last election. In 2011, Goodman beat out a large field of candidates, ultimately winning a heads-up race versus a Democratic contender, and in 2015, she won a four-way race where the primary opponent was a Republican candidate. In that race, she beat out Stavros Anthony and Phil LOL Corey. Imagine running for mayor, putting it all on the line, and then getting 1/3 of the vote of Phil LOL Corey. I'm sorry, Abdul. Just wasn't your day. Last year, Goodman ran once again for her final term. You're limited to 3 terms in Las Vegas, Nevada, where she absolutely just smashed it with 84% of the vote. So there's no doubt about it. People overwhelmingly want Goodman for mayor in the city of Las Vegas. Might be a little bit confusing because the city of Las Vegas is not actually the entire valley, but rather a specific subsection of Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Valley has a population of about 2.7 million people, but Las Vegas, the city, well, that population is just a bit over 600,000. So it's really only about 1/5-ish of the people in Las Vegas who are represented by Carolyn Goodman. It's like that in many cities where the metropolitan area is much greater than the specific city itself. So it's important to think about that when we're talking about this race for mayor. But what did Carolyn Goodman do that deserves a recall election, meaning we would run the election for mayor again and there would be a chance for a new candidate to beat her out? Well, you've probably already heard about it, but she did an interview on CNN. It didn't go well.
We're 2.5 million people down here in southern Nevada, and we have so many out of work because of
But you want the casinos open, yes?
Well, that's a piece of it. I want the hotel rooms open. We have 155,000 hotel rooms.
The mayor wants the city of Las Vegas back open again so everyone can start making money. And I get it, that's pretty reasonable. But when a pandemic outbreak happens, you have to make responsible decisions for everyone. And sometimes that means that you can't get things going again, even if you want it.
That is the call. You want casinos open, you want stadiums open, you want restaurants open, you want Vegas back in business.
And I understand you're being very specific, and I appreciate it because that's where you're seeing it. No, the reality is I want us open in the city of Las Vegas so our people can go back to work. And that's it, because we're putting children and families back out on the street, and very much a part of it for our convention business are our hotels and, yes, gambling. And gambling is a part of it.
So you want conventions in the town too?
Absolutely.
It'd be like me saying I don't want to get my hair cut anymore in my bathroom with a pair of scissors. Some things you just don't get to have. Some things are just not possible right now.
In another interview said, quote, "Let the businesses open. Competition will destroy that business if, in fact, they become evident. They have a disease, they're closed down."
Oh, yeah.
It's that simple.
Yes.
Do you stand by that? Because it would take weeks, as I think you probably know, before anyone realized a place was a epicenter of viral infection. I mean, that it would take weeks for that would actually to show up. You're comfortable with that?
This is a great question from Anderson Cooper. You can't know immediately if somebody's sick. It's not like somebody goes to the casino, they catch the coronavirus, boom, now they're really sick and you know that the place has coronavirus. There's a incubation period before symptoms occur. Some people are asymptomatic. It's unclear what those numbers look like right now. But if you just assume that everyone finds out that they're sick, it'll be good, it's already kind of too late. That's the issue with coronavirus and why it spreads so much. By the time you figure out somebody has it, well, they've already been around a lot of other people, and it's already spread to other people. They don't know they have it, and this process snowballs. You can't just be like, oh, well, they'll get really sick and everyone knows, stay away. It's too late by that point.
You want it to be like the free market. Everybody gets to go into these restaurants, and if it becomes a center for viral infection, that the markets will decide.
Anderson, nope, we weren't.
That's what you said.
We weren't broken when we were closed down, and
You
yet
stand
all
by
of
what
us,
you said.
I think I had it.
Interview gets a little chaotic here, but a couple key points. First off, she doesn't think Las Vegas was broken at all. We should have been open because there wasn't a big outbreak here yet. And we all know if it's not bad yet, then you'll be good the next day. I mean, just ask the people of Pompeii. And second off, she begins to start this thing that she already had coronavirus. And later in the interview, she goes on to say she thought she had it in January, which would make her one of the first people in the entire country to get coronavirus. So that seems pretty likely.
It's a responsibility of each one of us as a human being and part of the civilized world to know when we're sick. We don't do bad things to people at all, ever. This is a city that's built itself because of the ingenuity and creativity and passion that people have here to work and to live the American dream.
Right.
And that's who we are, and we have proven we've been very successful. So all your questions are great, but I'm not off for my call. Please let us open the city of Las Vegas. Let us get back to business.
Once again, you don't know when you're sick with coronavirus until days or even weeks later, so that's not something that works. And also, look, I get when you're doing something live, it's hard to speak correctly, and I've made plenty of mistakes even when I'm speaking recorded, but I really don't know what this sentence was supposed to be. This next part is particularly insulting to people who live here in Nevada, and I want to divert this video for a second to talk about my family. My dad grew up in Nevada. He lived in Boulder City, and his dad was a park ranger for Lake Mead, and he also worked at the nuclear test site in Nevada. He died in his early 30s of Hodgkin's lymphoma. My dad was 9 and he was the oldest of 3, and they had no dad. I never got to meet my granddad because of that. And even though there's proven evidence that ionizing radiation causes Hodgkin's lymphoma, at least to some degree, the state denied any responsibility for what had happened. So let's take a look at what Carolyn Goodman has to say about the nuclear test site.
Wait,
And
you're
more
saying
contact tracing.
No, that can't work. We're not getting the truth. And I know over the years, going back to the 1950s with the atomic bomb, don't worry about it when we're testing in Nevada. You'll all be fine. Take a shower. The reality is,
You're the one saying you'll all be fine. What we're saying is testing and contact.
You're putting words in my mouth. I said, open up Las Vegas.
This seems like the absolute worst possible analogy. You're taking an event in Nevada history where people downplayed it and died and saying that happened, so we should reopen because coronavirus is less bad? What is the argument even being made here? Moving on to our next baffling segment of this interview, where Carolyn Goodman has an argument about whether she's a politician or not.
Right. The governor says, unfortunately, I've known the mayor. I don't need politicians weighing in on what's the best date would be.
I am a politician.
I need doctors and medical staff.
The argument was with herself.
I am not a
what's the best date would be.
I am a politician.
Chinese researchers have shown how this virus spreads. And I just want to put up for our viewers. This is a restaurant.
Anderson, you are tough.
No, I'm not
We're
talking
back
about
to China. This isn't China.
Yeah,
this is Las Vegas, Nevada.
For all of Carolyn Goodman's faults, she does know where she is.
This isn't China.
Yeah.
This is Las Vegas, Nevada.
Wow. Okay, that's really ignorant. This is a restaurant, and the yellow circle. That's an ignorant statement. That's a restaurant, and yes, it's in China, but there are human beings too. That yellow is a person who is asymptomatic and infected, and all those other red circles are other diners who that one diner passed the virus to.
This could be the start of a new defense used worldwide. Whenever someone shows you a study or what a country did or what a city did or what happened to people somewhere, you can go, no. That was there, and we are here.
This isn't China.
Yeah. There was a point in the interview where things took a sad turn.
I speak with the owners of our city casinos every day, almost. And they're all in such pain of having to furlough or let everybody go in the casinos.
Yeah, I'm sure the casino owners are very sad. I get that.
Well, no, they're very sensitive people that care about their employees.
It's just so sad.
I'm sure. Yeah, my heart doesn't. I mean, casino owners. I'm sure they're probably doing okay.
The owners of the station casinos, Frank Furtado III. A measly $2 billion. Lorenzo Fertitta, only $2 billion as well. Poor guys. They're sensitive.
They're very sensitive people.
It's the people who are, working on the floor who are the ones who are going to become infected and potentially die.
No, you're talking disease. I'm talking life. I'm talking life and living. These are people who have had to abandon.
Casino owners are notoriously sensitive. I mean, look at Sheldon Adelson with quotes like, "I'm not in business to make money for the other guy. I'm in business to make money for myself." It's a good heart. I imagine he said that after he was finished chaining up Princess Leia in that dungeon.
People who have had to abandon. Well, it maybe doesn't to you, it does to us here in Las Vegas.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but nobody cares how sensitive casino owners are feeling right now. They care about workers, the middle class, the lower class, and what's happening to people who can't afford to eat. With an interview already chock full of great segments, this next bit is the one that tips the scale. This is the one that I think most people were talking about. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
You have to say, we have to open up. We have to go back. Our bus drivers, our
But hasn't it been because of social
restaurants.
distancing that the numbers have been what they are?
How do you know until we have a control group? We offer to be a control group. Anybody who knows anything about statistics knows that, for instance, you have a vaccine.
You're offering
you give the real
citizens of Las Vegas to be a control group to see if your theory on social distancing works or doesn't work.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Don't put words in my mouth.
You just said we'll be a control group.
Excuse me. What I said was I offered to be a control group, and I was told by our statistician you can't do that because people from all parts of Southern Nevada come in to work in the city. And I said, oh, that's too bad.
Oh man, I really wanted to run this experiment to see how many people would die if we don't do social distancing. They said that I'm the mayor and I can't do that. Sucks.
Oh, that's too bad.
Also, when she says no, wrong, absolutely wrong, I don't understand. Anderson Cooper is just taking what she said and saying it again to clarify, and she says no, wrong, with like some attitude about it. Which part was wrong?
We offer to be a control group.
You're offering the citizens of Las Vegas to be a control group. Works or doesn't work.
Wrong. We offer to be a control group.
I can't even understand what she's arguing here. She's trying to say she didn't say the thing that she just said before by saying wrong, but she wanted us to be a control group but was turned down. What is the point that she's making here?
The group who gets the placebo, by the way, usually gets the short end of the stick.
Well, you don't know. How do you know when you're in part of that group? You are.
Mayor, if
this is like the worst example of trying to show you're the good person that couldn't do the thing you wanted to do. Hey everybody, I tried to have us all get a dangerous disease that could kill you, but people told me I couldn't. I wanted to, but people told me I couldn't. And just a little cherry on top to end this interview. At the end of it, she has kind of like a negative connotation that she doesn't gamble because she has a family.
If casinos reopen, are you going to be inside those casinos every single night putting your own life on the line?
I have lived in this town for 56 years.
Are you going to go to casinos every night and put your life on the line like all the workers you say you were there holding their hands?
So they don't need it. We weren't broken. We tragically have 150 people we lost. Tragic. We have 2.3 million people here.
I haven't heard you say yes that you would be sitting on those casino floors every night along with the people that you say you are holding their hands with.
What is the purpose of that? First of all, I have a family.
Because it would be putting your money. It would be putting money where your mouth is, to use a Las Vegas term.
Anderson,
if you say it's safe,
Anderson.
Okay, so you're not willing to sit on the casino floors with them when they reopen and breathe the refiltered air.
First of all, I don't gamble.
This city has tons of people who gamble. Many people move here to gamble. I'm one of them. There's nothing inherently wrong with gambling. If you do it at stakes that you can afford for fun, it can be a way to pass time as entertainment. If you don't enjoy that, then you don't have to gamble at all. But you can also find ways to gamble where you're going to make money. Once gambling does have a negative impact on your life, it's time to walk away. And I get that there's a weird line here that the mayor has to walk, because on one hand, most people will be affected negatively from gambling. they're losing their money. But at the same time, the city is based around it and it can be done responsibly. There's a blend that you have to go for when you're talking about this. It's clear to me that Carolyn Goodman's loyalties don't lie with the people of Las Vegas. They lie with those sensitive casino owners.
They're very sensitive people.
Offering up your city as a control group experiment to see how bad coronavirus gets with no social distancing is just downright irresponsible. Look, I get we live in a very divided political climate right now. Things are so divided that even when someone says something totally outrageous, if you mention it or talk about it on either side, well, then all of a sudden you're just being a political hack.
And then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that, so that you're going to have to use medical doctors with.
It's sad to me that clips like this one where the president talks about injecting cleaning solution or whatever he's talking about here, that's a political stance now. If you're against him saying that, you're a liberal, and if you think he was just being sarcastic, you're a conservative, or maybe you're just pro-Trump or whatever it would be today. But the thing is, some things are not political. They're just downright irresponsible. This is one of those things.
We offer to be a control group.
We're talking about a global pandemic. We're talking about tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of people dying. We should be responsible with this. Now look, I realize that there is a balance. We have to strike the day where the least people die and the least amount of economic impact happens to our society. I'm not saying we should shut down forever, but don't just unilaterally go out on your own and say, let's open up because I heard that it isn't really spreading here. By the way, I had it in January. This is why I am announcing we are officially calling for a recall election of the Las Vegas mayor. And it's going to be a tough task to get it going, but I think we can do it. You may have seen this change.org petition going around to recall the Las Vegas mayor. Sign this petition. Well, I've got some tough news about that one. It doesn't mean anything. There are only 2 steps that are required in order to get a recall election for Las Vegas mayor. I've already completed the first one on my own. Step 1 is getting 3 signatures of people who voted in the last mayoral election that they want to have a recall election. This is basically a notice of intent to petition for a recall election. Well, I got the people together. I got a couple extra signatures just in case, and we have an official petition signed. We then had the intent notarized by a notary so that it is officially done, and then you have to file that intent at the original office where the candidate declared. We called up the city clerk's office. That's where you announce your candidacy. So we have already officially filed the notice of intent to petition with the city clerk. This thing is live.
And Mayor Goodman's recent comments, they have sparked a petition for a recall. A man by the name of Doug Polk filed the petition, and in a statement to 13 Action News, Doug says that, quote, she is barely able to speak coherent sentences while discussing the subject matter.
So the petition is officially live. What do we do from here? This is where it's going to get tough. There's no 2 ways about it. This is going to be difficult. We're going to need some help from local news agencies and probably some different areas that have large numbers of voters in the city of Las Vegas. But what we have to do is get 25% of the people that voted in the last mayoral election to sign a petition that they want to have a recall election. The total number of votes in the last mayoral election was 26,723. We need to get 25% of that, so 6,681 signatures. But that has to be of people that actually voted. So in order for us to hit the threshold for sure, we're really going to need a bunch more than that in order to make sure we have the right number of signatures. So in order to make this a reality, here's what the next step has to be. We need to start getting the signatures together. So if you voted for mayor in Las Vegas in 2019, you can download a sheet I listed below, sign it, and send it to a P.O. box I also listed below. The petition sheet is something that we put together that will be official, and the address is a P.O. box I set up to be able to receive all of the signatures that people are going to send. If you voted for mayor and are unable to either print it or have it sent because you can't afford the postage or whatever it is, I will do my best to try and help you out so that we can make this a reality. I've also set up an email account for questions on if you're able to help us out at recallgoodman@gmail.com. If we manage to make this happen and get the signatures, I want to clarify what happens from there. There seems to be some misunderstanding that someone else will take over from in the council. That's not how this works. This isn't an impeachment where if they're convicted, the next person up gets to be mayor. There would be a new election where we would actually have someone run and potentially beat Goodman in that election. She could win again. She absolutely could win again. In fact, a lot of recall elections, they do end up winning again. But if the people are upset enough about this, maybe we can get some good change here for Las Vegas. There's one last question you might have. Who will become mayor if it's not Carol Goodman? And well, I'd like to throw my hat into the ring because I think I've got exactly what it takes. Hello there. My name is not Carol Goodman, and I'm running for mayor of Las Vegas. You might remember me from such things as not embarrassing myself on national TV. In the midst of a global pandemic, you, the voters at home, are going to be faced with a tough choice. You can either vote for someone who is Carol Goodman, or you could not. As mayor of Las Vegas, I would never shill for the casino lobby, I would never make outrageous racist comments on CNN, and I wouldn't expect the American entrepreneurial spirit to cure a global pandemic. My pledge to you, at home today, is to do absolutely nothing. Because nothing is better than Carolyn Goodman for mayor. Which is convenient enough because, and I can't stress this enough, I am not Carolyn Goodman. And just remember, it wouldn't kill you to not vote Carolyn Goodman. Literally. You're less likely to die.